welcome to the first episode of the Breakroom Nachos podcast. My name is Mack.
And I'm Mike.
This is the first episode of a podcast. What do you even say on the first episode of the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know. Mac and I are we're friends and former coworkers, and we always had a good time talking and joking around, and I think we have some decent chemistry together. So we thought maybe we could share some of our interesting conversations with all of you out there.
I mean, we might bring about like world chaos because some of our subjects are a little like too woke, I think.
A little bit, yeah.
And with that being said, I guess we can dive into the very first topic on the first episode of, mark your calendars, people. It's going to be the most popular podcast of all time, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. Watch out, Joe Rogan. We're coming for you.
Joe Rogan, more like Joe Pogan, am I right? Come at me, Joe, because if you do, I'll get good publicity.
Pogan, I barely know him.
All right. So the burning question that needs to be answered today, what is it, Mike?
So remember when you were a kid growing up?
Oh yeah.
What I mean, I'm sure there's many answers to this, but what's the one thing that was always fun that you always looked forward to?
Sleepovers with the boys.
Absolutely. Sleepovers were great.
You know what was the best?
What?
When like you didn't plan a sleepover and you were just like at a friend's house.
Oh.
And like it was getting kind of late and they kind of like they looked over at you, were like, do you want to stay the night? And you're like, what do you think we could do a sleepover? And you call your mom.
Right, the phone call to mom.
And they ask their mom and they both say yes. And it's like, oh my God, I didn't plan for a sleepover.
No.
But I'm definitely having one.
Right, absolutely.
That was always the best.
That was
like the most exciting moment.
That was good. I'll give you that. And the funny thing is, we thought we were so lucky. I guarantee you, our moms were like, "Hell yeah, you can stay over there.
Get out of my hair.
Get out of my hair for a night."
Oh yeah, whichever mom didn't have to watch both kids was probably like, "Fuck yeah, I'm breaking out the wine tonight."
Right.
I mean, maybe for you, but I had two brothers, so you're an only child, so it might have been better for your mom. My mom still had two other kids to deal with.
Yeah, I guarantee my parents were happy to get rid of me for a night.
Oh, well, what parent doesn't want to be away from their child?
Very true. Now, personally, my favorite was not the impromptu sleepover like you mentioned. I liked either kind of the traditional, it's like Monday at recess. And you start like scheming like,
oh, you like plan it like way in advance.
Yeah, like, hey, Friday, maybe I can get my mom to write me a note so that I can ride your bus and get off the bus stop at your house.
Oh yeah, because then you can just like straight out the gates for the weekend. It's time, boys.
Yeah, whatever time you got home from school, 4:00 or whatever, you were gone. You were on from that point.
Do you have like any? Might be a weird question. Yeah. Do you have any like sleepovers in particular that really like stick out in your memory where like y'all did some really fun stuff?
Oh yeah, I'll have to think about it. I mean, not too in depth. I'm sure I can come up with something great here.
I definitely do. Not really when I was a kid so much. Not like not like pre-10 like the traditional sleepover you're probably thinking of. But like I must have been like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
My friends and we all went over to my friend Sean's house, and we all went down into his basement. And that's where he had like a pretty decent sized basement with like a bunch of seating and like this giant TV.
Uh-huh.
So, and we'd done this kind of thing multiple times before, but this time in particular was special. We'd all like set up with our laptops, play some video games. We'd get Mountain Dew and pizza and Doritos, just the classic sleepover.
Absolutely.
Like stuff. And my friend Jake, Jake.
I do.
He had a PS4 with the game Outlast on it.
Okay.
You probably don't know Outlast, but Outlast is like a super scary game where you're like, you have like a video camera and you're walking around an an old insane asylum getting chased down by things.
Okay.
So it was just like 4 guys, all younger guys, in a basement together, just shitting their pants over this horror game all night. And we still look back on that fondly. Just like, dude, do you remember that time we all played Outlast? Oh, and we had like the best memories of that.
Nice. The other thing that I was going to bring up that I think I looked forward to even more than the sleepover that you look forward to the whole week is if you had a sleepover one weekend and then you pre-planned
for another one
for the next one where you do it at the other person's house. Like
the flipperoo
the following weekend. That was a great strategy.
Sleepovers were just the best. It was like it was an excuse to like hang out with your friend all night, stay up late, do dumb shit. They were the best.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it. It was like, order pizza, or there was always some sort of caffeinated drink.
Oh yeah, you couldn't like be healthy on a sleepover. You weren't like, guys, I think I want to pick up some plant-based chicken nuggets today and just really be healthy for this one. You planned to just destroy your body.
How about a plant-based brat?
That sounds very healthy and wholesome.
Yeah, I like that. I think we'll do that this week.
We'll get some nice salads, drink a lot of water.
Right. Make sure we stay plenty hydrated.
Maybe take some nice vitamins and herbal supplements just to make sure our bodies are really feeling good. No, you would destroy yourself.
Yeah.
Did you ever wake up from a sleepover just feeling like shit but still happy because you're like, oh, last night was awesome?
Right. Always.
Oh yeah. It was always like, it sounds weird to call it this, but the morning after. Right. Which always, you'd walk out into the morning air and be super tired because you stayed up super late, but you were like, oh, that was awesome.
It was like the kid walk of shame. Yeah, Mountain Dew was a big thing, or, what were the other ones? I mean, I think when I was still sleepover age, I think Surge was still an original product.
I never tried that, but I know what you're talking about.
You can buy it. They started making it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the same recipe, do you know, or is it something different? Is it like new Surge?
It's one of those things. I think they claim it's the same, but when it's been, you
can't really tell,
10 or 15 years since you've had it, you only remember so much.
Yeah.
Plus, you weren't hanging on to that last sip of Surge being like, I really got to remember.
I got to savor this flavor. Got to make sure it touches all the taste buds.
Correct. You didn't know that was going to be your last Surge.
If there are any Surge connoisseurs out there, please let us know in the comments. What's your favorite part of the flavor?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was a cool thing that happened one weekend. So my friends and I did that setup of going to my friend's basement every week for a little while.
Uh-huh.
So we would do certain things. We'd go to Dollar General and we'd get the off-brand Mountain Dew, but everybody would have their own 2 liters. So it was oh my God, we can destroy our bodies actively.
Yeah.
But one of the times because I used to drink a shit ton of Mountain Dew in high school, I had a Mountain Dew in my car. And it was the dead of winter and it froze. So we brought it inside and we cut open the can and dumped out the Mountain Dew ice and we crushed it up into Mountain Dew ice.
Nice.
And then we put that in our Mountain Dew so it wouldn't get watered down. It was awesome.
It's almost like if you had an iced coffee and you made coffee cubes.
Yeah, so it was Mountain Dew cubes.
Right.
We would drink some nice Mountain Dew cubes. Although it was crushed, but same thing, really.
Did you keep a bag of Mountain Dew cubes in your freezer after that point?
No, it was a one-time thing.
Oh, okay. All right. That seems like it would work, though.
It did. I feel like it didn't cool it down as much as normal ice, but it's weird that I have that memory of it. But
yeah. The other one I was trying to think of, it wasn't Surge. It was called Kick.
Kick. I've not heard of that one.
Yeah. Do you think parents let their kids have Red Bulls at sleepovers now, or a Bang?
It probably depends on the kid. My mom used to be pretty strict with soda and stuff, but as I got older, she used to be like no soda on the weekdays, one soda a day on the weekends kind of mom. But as I got older, it was like, fuck it, destroy your own body. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious because I feel like for me, Mountain Dew we would have in the house on occasion, but like Kick or Jolt or
I feel like, does anybody like buy, I guess someone has to, but how many people do you know that actually like buy packs of energy drinks? Everybody I know gets them for like one at a time from a gas station. You don't buy like a bulk energy drinks.
Yeah, I think the only way you would is if you maybe like a Costco type purchase.
Like I don't want to judge anyone out there, but like buying bulk energy drinks just sounds like a super white trash thing.
It kind of does.
It seems like something you'd find in like, you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere in someone's like barn and they have like a bunch of energy drinks stocked up.
Fair enough.
Want to go hunting with the boys.
See, now I find the bulk purchase more understandable than, for some reason, it seems like energy drinks, if you buy them in a pack, they come in like a 4-pack.
Yeah.
That seems like a weird amount. Like, if you're drinking them that often, that's not even like one a morning for your whole week.
No, I mean, that's maybe those packs exist because of like, I guess the stigma that we're seeing just right here about whether or not like buying a bulk energy drinks is a normal thing to do. Maybe they introduce like 4-packs. Like if someone buys them pretty regularly, they see that they're like, oh, I guess I'll buy a 4-pack. And then they ultimately end up kind of, drinking it more frequently.
Yeah, I don't know. The 4-pack just seems like a weird demographic to target because I feel like people are either like,
they're either hardcore energy drinkers or they do it every now and then.
Yep. Yeah, you either need a single or
you need like 2 a day.
Yeah, you bought that 24-pack at the store and you're hoping that it's going to make it 2 weeks. But my original point was,
yeah,
you know, our moms bought us, you know, Mountain Dew and Kick and highly caffeinated sodas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay because it was a sleepover and we were staying up late. It'd just be really funny if there were a bunch of like 9-year-olds drinking like cotton candy flavored Bang. Loaded with like creatine and amino acids and shit.
You gotta break them while they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was never into energy drinks that much. Like I would drink them like once in a blue moon. I was big into Mountain Dew when I was a kid though.
That's fair.
Like I really am not that into caffeine now that I'm older. You know, I mostly drink like, you know, some of the like less caffeinated sodas, or I drink apple juice and water a lot. I do the G Fuel, but
you just said doo-doo.
I did say that.
Yeah.
Can we cut that out, future Mac?
I kind of like it.
Anyway,
come on, poop and farts are always funny. There's never a time when poop or farts are not funny.
Think anybody could hear me just sucking down that water?
I'm sure somebody could. You obviously you guys can't see this, but your glass kind of reminds me of a tiny vase.
Yeah, well, they're nice glasses. My mom got me this is a dumb thing to talk about because no one can see it, but
I know.
My mom had these really nice glasses in our house, and when I moved out, she told me she happened to have like an extra box that just never opened. So I took them with me because I was like, I like these glasses a lot. I don't want to like stop using them. So
perfect. And I found that glasses are pretty much the only thing that I actually like break in the kitchen.
I've only broken one glass so far. It was one of these too, which was really upsetting.
Yeah, I very rarely break anything, but I don't know if I've ever broken like a dish or a bowl. It's only ever been...
I haven't broken a single plate yet since I moved out of my parents' house.
Oh, getting a little rowdy upstairs.
Yeah, my upstairs neighbors are always rowdy. Probably can't hear it on the mics, but I'm gonna go up there with a gun and threaten them, and I think they'll leave us alone.
Maybe. I've got a couple little demon spawns that live above me.
Oh no, kids?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
kid neighbors are the worst.
I would say. I mean, I'm horrible with children's ages. I'd say they're maybe like 8 and 10.
Would you rather, okay, this is going to be an obvious kind of a rhetorical question, but would you rather be really bad at kids' ages or be really good at kids' ages? Like, yep, that's a 14-year-old right there. I'm going to give that one a 9. Like, think of the implications that would give if you were like, yes, I can guess the age of a child very accurately.
I think people would start questioning you.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather be bad at guessing a child's age. So I don't think you have anything to be concerned about.
But yeah, I don't know. They're probably, I'll say 8 and 10.
Okay.
And it seems like all day, every day, they are just running back and forth from one side of the apartment to the other. Or I think they're like jumping off the couch.
Oh.
You remember that movie Jumanji?
I haven't seen it in years, but hell yeah, dude. Robin Williams.
It pretty much sounds like they're playing Jumanji upstairs.
Remember how they rebooted Jumanji? Did you ever see that? Like the new Jumanji that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, don't they go to like an island or something? Is it what's with The Rock?
It's The Rock and Jack Black.
And Kevin Hart?
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
They made 2 more, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. There is a sequel. I think last year. I don't know anyone who's seen either of those movies.
I have not. I own the second one.
Like the new second one?
No,
the old second one.
The one that came out within the last 5 years.
Why?
Not the one that just came out. Because, okay, you know I'm kind of obsessed with like movies and DVDs and such.
Hey, collect a bunch of them. But you also go for older stuff.
I do, but I'm also very OCD in that if I start a movie franchise, I need to own every sequel, prequel, anything that went along with that.
Tell me you have Jaws and like Jaws 4.
You know, I don't have any of the Jaws movies.
Aww.
But if I did, I would have all of them.
You know, I have the Bionicle trilogy. I just want to mention that real quick.
Bionicle?
Yeah, you probably don't know Bionicle.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that was past your time. Mike's an old man compared to me.
Oof. Fair enough.
Well, you can call me a baby compared to you, so
that's true.
We can make fun of each other. It can be a mutual thing.
Well, how about you guess how old you think we are if you don't already know in the comment section?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. No one from my Twitch, because I know I've said it on my Twitch a bunch of times. None of you fuckers.
Yeah, and nobody.
Microwave, Scorpion, if you're listening, Shupwhoop, knock it off. Get out of here.
Yeah, and I mean, none of like my family or close friends that clearly know how old I am. Just curious, anyone listening that...
I don't even think I know your exact age. I just know the general area.
Okay, well, maybe
if we learn something. If
we get enough guesses, maybe we'll do a reveal on the next.
Please share this to all of your major social media accounts. Let's get it. Let's turn this into a thing. You know, let's get the whole world guessing our ages.
And also, feel free in the comments if well, obviously leave a comment with what you think, but if you have any ideas for things that you think you would like to hear our opinions on, drop a comment and maybe...
Oh, please. We would love to start accepting questions from people.
Yeah, maybe at some point we can either just do Q&A or...
Having a fight with your mom.
Yeah, if you even just have a great just topic that you want to talk about or want to hear us talk about, just let us know and, you know...
Yeah, definitely.
We can always touch on that.
So anyway, Bionicle. It was made by Lego years and years ago. It was like the big thing when I was a kid. Everybody loved Bionicles. So they were like just little like Lego action figures basically. You build them up and you had an action figure. And let me look up. I'll look up some on my phone here. I'll look up some of the Bionicle designs because you'll see them. You'll be like, what the fuck is that?
Huh.
They were weird. They came up with some weird stuff. This was like one of the original runs.
Oh, okay. It's very un-Lego like.
Yeah, no, they don't look like they're made of. It was a Lego brand. It wasn't like made of Legos.
That's cool. It kind of looks like. Do you remember Connects?
Yeah. They're kind of like those.
It looks like they're definitely more similar to a Connects than they are to a traditional Lego.
And they'd have like these little parts that you could like squeeze and like shoot things out of them and stuff. They were awesome. Bionicles were the shit. And they made movies. They made like a trilogy of movies.
Okay.
And they suck. But I had the first movie when I was a kid and I watched it all the time. And I was at a thrift store a few months ago and they had all 3 movies just sitting there. And I was like, you fucking know I'm picking all those up.
Right.
So I have the entire Bionicle movie trilogy.
Now, Mack, I believe the spelling of Mack is different.
Mm-hmm.
But I did pick up a movie, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so, and I've never actually seen it all the way through. But it's a film called Mack and Me.
You told me about this. This is the McDonald's one, right?
Yeah. Yes, the McDonald's
like the McDonald's film. What was it, like an ET ripoff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We should maybe do a review of that at some point.
I'd be down to do that. Mack and Mike, Mack and Me.
But we really probably do need to get back to
the topic. Yeah,
to sleepovers. Sure. We got a little distracted, but that's okay.
That's fine. We have plenty of time.
As far as weird things that happened at sleepovers.
So just so everybody's aware, like this is basically like the kind of conversation that Mike and I would have just casually that led to this podcast existence.
Yeah, we would basically have this exact same conversation that we just had, minus all the shout outs to comments and things like that.
Just standing around at work, not doing anything.
At work, yeah.
Little lazy fuckers.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so we would frequently have sleepovers at my friend's house, who's also named Mike. Mike number 2 specifically. Shout out to you. Mike.
I think I met him, right? At your graduation party?
Yeah, he definitely came to that.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
So yeah, you definitely would have met him. Known forever. We've been friends. Ooh, I won't say how long because that'll give a hint to how old I am. But he is one of my oldest friends. I've known him since I was probably 7 or 8. He'll know exactly about this. We've been great friends, except he'll love that I mentioned this. We did have a bit of a falling out.
I think you told me about this, but I don't remember what.
Our friendship took a bit of a hiatus for not even that long. It was less than a year. It was stupid high school stuff.
Of course.
But literally every time we see each other, we have to apologize to each other and insist that it was both of our faults. Everything is fine now. I was in his wedding back in March. So we are.
You went to a wedding right at the top of the pandemic, dude?
The month before, basically the month and a half before the pandemic is probably more activity than I've done in, I don't know, 2 years combined.
Jesus.
I went to Mike's bachelor party, which was in Indianapolis. That was the very beginning of February. And then his wedding was in Grand Rapids. I want to say March 6th. So pretty early. And then I started my new job that Monday, the 9th. And within, I think, 2 weeks, everything was shut down. So yeah, it was a pretty eventful 6 weeks between.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Between doing more activities than I've done in a long time,
and the world falling apart,
and then immediately going to do less activities than I've ever done in my life. So, yeah. But Mike will very much know who I'm talking about. We have another friend from high school. Sometimes he went by Kevin. Sometimes he went by Homer. Like Homer Simpson.
Okay.
Sometimes he went by T.
It's a lot of nicknames for one person.
Yeah, it's very strange. His dad also goes by all of the same nicknames. So it's
like inherited.
So it's like Kevin and Kevin Jr. And then they both get called Homer.
Why aren't they Homer and Bart? That'd be perfect.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But it never, ever failed whose house we were at. If we were at a sleepover, Kevin would instantly take his socks off. Within 20 minutes of getting there, his socks were off. Which is fine.
Kevin's socks are off. You know it's getting lit, boys.
Oh, it's so absurd. But no, he would leave them. He would always forget his socks.
Okay. So he would take them off right away and then just lose them? I don't like to have my socks on at home. I'll take them off at a sleepover too. I used to do that, but I wouldn't forget them.
Nope. He would leave them every time.
What?
Mike, if you're listening to this, I guarantee you probably at one point had 10 pairs of Homer socks that you were just holding on to because he left them all over there.
That's too good. That's so weird.
Now I'm actually my memory's fading me a little bit. I can't remember if Mike and I just joked about this happening or if this actually did happen. I can't remember what I convinced myself of. But when I was in Grand Rapids for this wedding for Mike, I was in the wedding, so I needed to be out there for 2 nights. One night for rehearsal and then for the actual wedding itself. Kevin only came out for 1 night. I had 2 beds in my hotel room, so he asked if we could
bunk up.
Yeah, if we could bunk up, if we could split it for the night. And I said, yeah, sure. Whatever. It's another bed. I'm not going to use a second bed for anything. But he checked out before me.
He left you the socks.
I'm 99% sure he left a pair of socks in the hotel. He must
spend a fortune on socks. He's leaving them everywhere.
I know. I don't know how he does it.
Do you think he has like a sock shop? Or like a specific sock tailor calls up like, hey, Rick, I need another crate.
Right. See, now socks are almost the opposite of the energy drink in terms of quantity.
Yeah, well, you'd never buy a single pair of socks. You're right.
No, you can do it with a pair of dress socks.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, sure.
Because you want something specific.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, like a pack of 4 pair or 6 pair is much more useful than the Costco 24 pack of socks. Although I do love socks myself.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I like have a specific brand that I like to buy, so I'll just wear them until they're worn out and then buy another pack off Amazon.
Fair enough. I really like these Puma socks that they've got at Costco. They're
sponsored by Puma. We're not.
We're not a sponsored podcast.
This is the first episode. We're not going to be fucking sponsored.
Do you know that I really, really like socks?
You know what? I think you've mentioned this because I remember distinctly thinking it's weird because of how much you hate feet.
I do hate feet, including my own.
Like, okay, everybody hates feet, but Mike has a particular hatred for feet.
That weird group that.
Okay, yeah, let's not talk about it. We don't need to talk about them. They're not real. They're not people. We don't respect them.
We all know what I'm referring to.
We're not kink shaming you, but we're kink shaming you.
Right.
So what is it about socks in particular that you like so much?
I think Rex Ryan is a person that fits into that category. Dan, if you're listening, confirm that for me later on. He's an NFL coach, and it came out that he had like a thing for feet. And
Tarantino has a big feet thing.
Oh yeah, because isn't there that scene in
all of his movies? There's like a foot scene.
I know there's the one for sure in From Dusk Till Dawn.
I haven't seen that one, but
okay,
I just know it's a thing.
I think that was one of his movies. Yeah. So it came out that this football coach had a foot thing, and one of the players in the team playing against them that week. During his weekly press conference, made as many jokes and references to feet, calling players foot soldiers, and like just any way he could possibly work it in. It was very humorous. But yeah, the guy's name is kind of not coming to me right now. I think it was Rex Ryan.
Okay,
but yeah, I don't like feet. Including my own. I don't like to look at them. Feet are just gross. To me, they look like little hands, but they're like kind of like a deformed version. Because what would be the fingers?
Because they're just short little nubs.
Yeah, they're just short little nubs.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean, I don't like feet because they just smell bad. There's a distinct foot odor. Like even when your feet are clean. As soon as they're like out for a bit and like if they get a little bit of sweat, like there's just that foot scent. Probably making someone listening sick just thinking about it. So we should probably move on from this.
Yeah. But yeah, we got there because I love socks. I wear socks basically anytime I'm not in water. That's a thing.
Okay.
I there's no better feeling in the world than a brand new pair of socks.
So then the real question is, when you were at this hotel with Homer,
Yeah.
would you have considered that an adult sleepover?
I would not, because that is
removed from both of your homes. I think that's a big thing.
it is removed from both of our homes. We needed a place to stay out of necessity because we were out of town. And we had pre-planned, it was premeditated that he was going to be crashing. It's not like he just showed up at the wedding and was like, hey, do you care if I crash in your room tonight? He got a hold of me like a week before and said, hey, can we bunk up together?
But that does beg the question of what would we define as an adult sleepover?
Okay.
So I think we've already decided one of the big requirements. I think it has to be at one person's house. It can't be.
Yeah.
It can't be in a secondary location that neither of you or possibly multiple of you have never been to. Like someone has to own the place you're being at.
Right. Yep. It can be in a bedroom.
It can be out in the living room.
It can be out in the living room. You mentioned the basement.
Basements are the fucking littest places for a sleepover.
Or you can pitch a tent.
Would you consider
in the yard?
In the yard, I can see that. I think I would consider that. I don't know if I would consider that sleepover. That's camping, even if you're in the backyard.
It's really not camping though.
It's not real camping. It's I think you remember years ago at World Market when they did that whole jamping thing.
Glamping.
That's what it was. Not jamping. Glamping. Glamour camping.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dumb as shit. We worked at World Market together, FYI, and they had this fucking announcement. They were doing the whole run. There was an entire section of the store for like quote unquote camping stuff, but none of it was actually useful for camping.
No.
There was like a shitty like big round blanket thing. There was like an outdoor grill that was like not at all useful.
No, the one that kept falling apart.
That's the one. And they kept playing this announcement over like the PA system that it annoyed me to no end because they kept being like all the comfortability of inside, but outside. It's glamour camping. Glamping. Yeah, and we work with this guy who camps. We would go camping and like backpacking all the time.
Yeah, he goes actual camping.
Like in
hardcore.
Like intense situations and stuff.
Yes.
Intense situations.
Yes. Intense. Yes.
Please leave a comment if that gave you a stroke. But I asked him one time, like, what do you think of glamping? And he just said he thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard.
Well, because do you remember there was something that we had in that glamping shop set where it was for like to have your movie night while you're glamping.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they had like a mini projector that you put your phone in.
Yeah,
and it's like, what are you doing? What if all of a sudden your car, there's like crazy wind outside, your car gets pushed down a cliff. And you just wasted all your phone's battery watching Jumanji 2 on your phone projector.
Right.
What do you do then, you asshole? You're dead.
Right. The reason I own Jumanji 2. We
never finished that.
We never finished that, but I'm glad you brought that up. So I've owned the first, the OG, the Robin Williams Jumanji for years. And last year, Black Friday, I happened to be... It might have been a couple days later. I happened to be in Meijer, and they had a bunch of Blu-ray that were like $2 and $3 a piece.
Nice.
And the second film in the Jumanji franchise, the first one with Kevin Hart and The Rock and Jack Black, was one of those movies.
Okay, so that's what you mean by Jumanji 2. Okay, I was a bit confused, but I get what you mean now.
Yeah, so I figured for $2 or $3, I buy it, and I've got those two. So at some point you need to watch that. I need to watch it together or something. Yeah, I need to watch it, and also need to pick up the newest Jumanji film. But okay, so rules for these adult sleepovers. Well, okay, before we define an adult sleepover, I think it'd be easiest for us to, start from the basics and work up. Like, what is a kid's sleepover? Okay. Kid sleepover. So again, you're at someone else's house. Right. You're at someone else's house. At least somewhere where that friend of yours is connected to. Maybe
Like, would you do like a grandparent's house? Is that what you mean?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe their grandparents have a pool, and
they happen to live near the parents, so you just go there instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Something like that. But
someone in the family has to own it, or someone close to the family, something like that.
Yeah. Exactly. So you have to know them. I would say it needs to be pre-planned, unless it's the situation that you brought up, where it's getting late and all of a sudden the impromptu sleepover.
Yeah, well, I would just dump the pre-planning thing entirely, because sometimes you just at a friend's house, you're like, what if we did a sleepover?
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay. I guess that's fair. Let's see what else.
Do you consider unhealthy foods a requirement or just like heavily suggested?
At a minimum, it's heavily suggested. I don't know that it necessarily has to be a requirement, because don't forget, we're thinking of like adolescent boy sleepover.
Right.
I don't necessarily know what childhood females consume at sleepovers.
That's true. I don't know anything about girls. I've never even met one.
Yeah, girls are weird.
Girls out there, leave a comment if you think I'm cute. Do you like me, YN?
Check yes or no.
If it's a maybe, throw that shit in the garbage. I don't want it. I'm sick of this maybe bullshit. Give me a definitive answer. Don't put me on the hook.
If it's no, just can you give him an F in chat?
Can we get an N plus F in the chat, please? I recently, here, maybe this will give him a hint at Mike's age, but I recently taught Mike what press F to pay respects meant. So that's been something he's been using.
Yeah. I like to try to use it as much as possible. Sometimes when it's not entirely accurate or appropriate, but that makes it funnier.
Yeah. What girls out there, please tell us about your sleepovers. Let us know what you ate. Let us know what you did. Let us know what boys you talked about, or if you like like me.
Also, I mean, pillow fights seem to be...
That was okay. That's my big question for the girls out there.
Is that real? Did anyone ever actually have a pillow fight at a sleepover?
Like teenage girls, like every fucking teenage girl movie ever made, 80s to now, it's like if they have a sleepover scene, they're doing a fucking pillow fight. It's happening.
Oh,
they're throwing down hard.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, I feel like I remember having a pillow fight once in my life, and it was like basically like a what is a pillow fight actually like kind of situation. Like no one actually does that shit.
You can seriously like fuck someone's day up with a pillow though. It
depends on the pillow. I have one pillow in my bed that's like a fucking stone. Like that motherfucker's firm.
I know. And
that thing weighs like 5 pounds. You hit someone with it, it's gonna hurt.
Right? And you got like 12-year-old boys with like
a lot of caffeine in their system
and like raging growth hormone,
puberty strength,
just
whipping pillows at each other. Mom, can you come pick me up early? I broke my arm in a pillow fight.
One really stupid thing that some of my friends and I would do at sleepovers, and this was we were definitely older. We were like in high school. This is like high school stupid.
Okay.
This isn't like 8-year-old stupid.
This is like possibly dangerous stupid.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have something after that, but go ahead.
So my friend and his sister, they shared a bathroom. It like connected their rooms together.
Oh no.
But all of her like bathroom stuff was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point we got this great idea to take and make a giant ball out of this spool of kite string that he had.
Okay.
And then just spray the hell out of it with some of his sister's body spray.
Okay.
And then we'd light it on fire. Because the alcohol in the body spray is so flammable.
No.
And then we throw it back and forth. Throw it back and forth at each other in his room.
Oh my God. How did you not burn his house down?
I don't know.
That's like fucking Saw style hot potato.
Yeah, that was really absurd.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, we did that one. Oh gosh. I know more will come to me, but that was one that.
Okay, well, if we're talking stupid shit, this is less possibly dangerous than what you were doing, but definitely not safe. So my friends and I, we did like the basement sleepovers for a good number of years, for probably a solid year, I'd say, just like every week, or every other week or something like that. I don't know. We did it a lot. All of my friends who were involved in that were younger than me. One of them was Jake, he's a year younger than me, and then Sean and Jared, both 2 years younger than me. So I was the oldest one in the group. I was 16. So I could drive and I had a car and we would go pick up pizza and stuff. But, you know, when you're at a sleepover, you kind of get in a certain mood, you know, just stupid, like throwing around an on fire ball kind of stupid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we'd be fucking like driving to Domino's no more than like 2-3 miles away from my friend's house. And like... There's videos of this on my Instagram. If anyone wants to go deep diving on my Instagram and find this shit.
I like it.
But we'd be like driving down the street and all my friends would like windows down, have their heads out the window, just screaming shit into the wind. I remember one time there was this fucking great video. It is still on my Instagram. You can find it. Wait, maybe not mine. It might be on my friend's Instagram. It's somewhere. It's this fucking great video of us like following a red car and my friend is just screaming at them, just yelling stupid shit at them. Like we were coming up to this turn and he yells at them, "Yeah, you turn right, you stupid little bitch." And then he didn't realize I had to turn right.
Oh no.
So he yells it at them and then we take the turn and he's like, "Oh shit." And like nothing came of it, but definitely like if he'd been yelling that at the wrong person, like someone could have like stopped their car, gotten out and shot at a bunch of kids, honestly.
Yeah. That reminds me, this is not sleepover related, but it is related to yelling things out of car windows at people.
Okay.
This is something that my friend Natalie used to do all the time. And we're talking like college age.
Okay.
I would say probably up to the age of 25.
Oof. Okay.
Something like that.
I'm just assuming this is an oof.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not that bad. It doesn't even really make sense, but it gets people to pay attention. So she would roll down the window and yell out to someone walking down the sidewalk, "You dropped your pocket." Which,
what does that mean?
Well, exactly. But everyone like looks at the ground and it's so absurd because I mean, how do you drop your pocket?
Right. Oh, that's goofy.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that where you say things that are like obviously nonsense and people just do it anyway. There's a really funny, like there's tons of people have done this. There's a million clips on YouTube of people doing shit like this, but they'll be playing games like GTA and it'll be like a bunch of guys playing. They're like speeding down the highway in a car and someone will be like, how do I honk the horn? They'll be like, "Oh, press F." And then like F is the button to like get out of the car. So they'll just get out of the car and go rolling down the street. And
nice.
I love shit like that. So funny.
Nice. What else do we have for a sleepover?
We get really sidetracked. I kind of like it though.
We do. I know. What else makes a sleepover?
Okay, so we've ruled out unhealthy foods as like a requirement, I'd say.
But it's highly encouraged to have unhealthy
Definitely
food.
encouraged. Definitely encouraged.
Caffeine, unhealthy foods. At least it seems like video games were usually...
For guys, at least. Again, we don't know what girls did.
Yeah.
Girls are like a foreign object to me.
Well, staying up late.
Staying up late is definitely a requirement.
Yeah.
100%.
Sleeping in the same room.
Oh, that's a requirement. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what room it is.
No, like we said, living room, basement, bedroom, doesn't matter. Shed outside.
Right. I don't think it has to be... I don't think it necessarily has to be on the floor either.
No, it doesn't have to be on the floor.
Because like I'd mentioned, sleepovers with my friend Mike's. For a while, I think he had like dual twin beds in his room. So like if there was just one of us sleeping there, you know. We both got a bed,
Yeah.
but that's still a sleepover.
Yeah, totally. I guess, okay. I don't know how to phrase this. I guess like you have to have something to do is how I would say it. Because like, you know, whether you're watching a movie, playing some video games, playing board games, like there has to be like a primary activity, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. Like a reason for the sleepover.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you want to hang out with each other, but
Right.
like there has to be a theme for the sleepover.
Yeah, I think that's a requirement.
I know one thing we would do when we would, because I feel like we all kind of had different video game systems.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike was a PlayStation guy, and
You brought out the Virtual Boy.
I was mostly a Nintendo kid at that point. But this was beyond Virtual Boy. And again, I don't want to mention which systems in particular.
Oh, well, I mean, whatever.
I mean, well,
if we give enough hints and people use that to their advantage, then good for them. I don't know.
I mean, that's true. But since we all had different systems, usually the one traveling would bring theirs with them.
Okay.
Bring their console with them. So it's like, Mike's gonna come over this weekend. He's gonna bring his PlayStation, and we're gonna play that I don't get to normally play because I have
whatever else.
Yeah,
right.
That was a theme we would do. I mean, we'd screw around and play sports. That was kind of like a theme sometimes.
Like just go do some like backyard football, or wrestle each other in the basement. Unsupervised.
Yeah, like, Mike could be like, oh, hey, my mom said it's okay if you and Homer and Jeff all come over and spend the night. So, okay, we've got 4 people. We can play some sort of sporting event against each other.
Okay, well, I'm a nerd, so I can't relate to that one.
Okay.
We didn't really do that shit.
I circled in with the video game thing for you, though.
Yes, you did. Well, I mean, so video games were big with me and my friends. We did Outlast, and then we did... Did I say Outlast? Outlast is that right? Fuck, I forget now. But we did that in like Outlast 2 one time. Outlast 2 was less fun, but and then like movies were big with us. We would mostly watch like shitty movies, and there was only a couple times we did that. We watched The Room, which is like a famously bad movie. I think I've told you about The Room.
You have told me about that, yeah.
And then we also watched Mean Creek. I don't know if you've probably never heard of Mean Creek.
No.
Super unknown. This probably wouldn't be as funny to you. There was a show. This is going to give away my age a little bit. There was a show that was super popular when I was younger called Drake and Josh. You probably heard of that. I know you've heard of Corey in the House.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with both of the shows you're talking about.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Josh, the character played Josh Peck.
Was he
He's the fat one.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it was. He's fit as fuck now. That kid's hot now. But Josh in that was in a movie called Mean Creek, which is like an R-rated movie, but it was still when he was like a fat little kid. So like it's a movie of like that aged Josh saying like fuck and shit and like the F word that people derogatorily use for gay people that I will not say.
Fair enough.
Like using that word just a ton. And there's this one scene in particular where he's like on a boat as they're drifting down this creek, and he's like making fun of some kid because his dad killed himself. Like,
oh, wow.
really dark stuff. It's a really dark movie.
Yeah, that's yeah. Kids shouldn't be watching this.
Well, it wasn't a kid's movie. I mean, we were teenagers. I was probably 15, 16.
Okay, all right. That's fair.
It wasn't when I was a kid. I was relatively older. So that was a movie we watched on sleepover one time. Did you ever do like sleepover birthday parties?
Yeah, I think we did. Those were fun because that was always like a large group.
Yeah. I had one in particular that I remember really well. This was when I was really young. Like I live in Michigan now. I lived in New Hampshire when I was a kid. So this is when I was still living in New Hampshire.
In Bow,
New Hampshire. Yes. and my friend had a sleepover birthday party, and like my parents are like they're like middle class, I'd say, you know, like we're not poor but we're not rich.
Sure.
This kid was like rich. He had like a big ass house, big like marble countertop kitchen, gigantic basement. So, you know, he got like 8 kids together all for this one birthday party, and it was fucking awesome.
Right on.
I don't super remember what we did on it, to be honest, but
Okay.
I just remember his house was beautiful. I don't know why like kid me remembered that, but he had a really pretty house. I think we watched like what's that movie called? It's like a movie with like sentient barn animals. The barn, the the cow tippers. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm looking it up now.
I did have one friend that would have a birthday
Barnyard. That's it.
Barnyard.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen.
Is
this
that
movie.
like a DreamWorks? It sounds like a DreamWorks film.
I'm not sure who it's by.
It doesn't sound like it's.
It wasn't good.
It doesn't sound like it's of Disney quality.
Let's see who made this movie. It's got a 5.6 out of 10
Oh.
on IMDb, 22% on Rotten Potatoes. Tomatoes.
Rotten Potatoes. That's a whole different website.
Have you ever had potatoes rot? This is a weird question, but I promise there's a payoff for it. Who made this movie? There's no list of a studio. I think they like took their name off of it.
I have not.
Paramount and Nickelodeon.
Okay. Well,
not your well-known animation.
It was
studios.
clearly not Pixar, that's for sure.
Why?
Because it doesn't look that.
Oh well, no, it doesn't look good. I got
no.
I got
like everything Pixar does, even if it was a crappy movie, it still looks incredible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My one friend who would have a birthday party sleepover every year. The big thing to do at night there was flashlight tag.
Oh fuck! I never did flashlight tag at a sleepover. I did it when I would go camping in Boy Scouts.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know what Boy Scout doesn't happen to have a flashlight on him at all times.
Right. Okay. What else makes a sleepover? So we've got.
I feel like we've covered like the major things. Like it's got to be at someone's house. You got to stay up late. You got to have like a primary objective of the night.
Right.
Is there anything else that would really like? Would you? Okay. We've talked about like boys and girls sleepovers. Do you think it cannot be considered a sleepover if it's a boy and a girl or like mixed genders? I don't think that necessarily rules it out.
No.
I actually just contradicted myself because when I think about it, that same group birthday party at the kids with the rich parents' house, like that was definitely like a mixed gender thing.
You had a co-ed sleepover.
Yeah.
Now you can definitely have. Now, are we talking adults now, or are we still on? We're
still on kids for now. We're still establishing the rules of a kid's sleepover.
Yeah, I think you can.
I think so. I mean, you know, especially at younger ages, kids are innocent. So
now I was an only child, but I wish I could have experienced like you and your sibling both having sleepovers on the same night.
Oh, dude, that's fucking terrible. You don't want that.
Well, but I feel like
it's the fucking worst.
But I feel like it would be great because I feel like you guys would just like bug the crap out of each other.
You would, but that wasn't fun.
Like, oh, I'm going to destroy my brother's sleepover.
In fact, in general, I wouldn't have sleepovers at my own house because my brothers would always want to be like getting involved in it. I'm sitting here like, no, these are my friends. Fuck off. I hate you two.
See, now I'm thinking if they had their own sleepover with their own friends over.
No, that was annoying too.
Okay.
Because then it would just be like, oh, they'd be making a fucking bunch of noise in the basement. So you got to take your sleepover somewhere else.
Ugh. Okay.
Shout out to my brothers. They're cool now, but they sucked as kids. We all did. Kids suck.
For the most part, yeah.
Name me one child that is good and I'll beat him up.
Speaking of you beating up kids.
Where's this going? I don't even know where this is going.
Remember the time when that coworker of ours had his children at work? And you were coming out of that room with
let me set the stage for everybody. Okay, so this guy had, because I feel like the details are important here.
Fair enough.
this coworker of ours, he worked in the mornings, and he would sometimes have his kids like come to work with him, and they just fucking hang out. And like they would sometimes like he would do the sweeping at the end of the day, at the end of his day. It would be in the beginning of anybody else's day because it was a morning shift. But he would like sweep the floor. So they would bring in like this toy set of like brooms to like follow him around with. We've had this like running joke for a while that one of his kids is like just dead inside and the other one will steal your soul.
Yeah.
Because like any pictures of them, anytime you see them, like his little girl is always just like staring at the camera with like an evil look on her face.
Evil.
Like you wouldn't believe she's human. She thinks she's possessed.
Yeah.
And then the son is just like blank. He's just a blank slate. He hardly talks. He's always like blank face. He doesn't look like he has fun.
He looks like he's kind of like plotting how he would, set a building on fire.
Yeah. So my prevailing theory is that the daughter stole the son's soul. But so one day we had this like back room area where we would like store like various supplies, and we like make coffee and tea for customers to sample. And the coffee and tea things were like these big, heavy pots.
Air pots.
Well, not everyone knows what they are.
Oh, okay. The dispensing coffee carafe type thing.
Big
you push
metal
down on
things.
the top and it squirts out the coffee.
Yeah, that you push down on the top and it like squirts it out.
You all know what that is.
Yeah, so they were those, and when they're full of coffee, they're heavy. So I had 2 of them in my hands, and I was walking up to the door, and this door leading out of the room, it's like this big swinging door. There's no handle. It doesn't get like lock. It's just a swinging door, and there's like a window at about my eye height. I'm 6 feet tall, so it's like a square in the top half of the door. So I looked out there, and I didn't see anyone, so I kicked the door so I could like get out because my hands were full of the coffee pots. And lo and behold, this guy's son was just right behind the door. And I smacked him with the door super hard.
And what sort of reaction did the child have?
All right, everybody, like, place your votes in the comments. All right, did he A, fall down and start crying? Did he B, get pushed back and get angry at me? Did he C, have no reaction whatsoever and just keep walking? The answer was C. He had no reaction. I like looked at him and tried to apologize, and he said nothing. He just kept going.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh God, the kid has no soul.
He really doesn't.
I don't know how he got there from the sleepover thing.
Yeah. Who knows how words are formed? Michael Scott. So why, if we liked sleepovers so much as children,
why is it just not a thing as an adult?
Yeah, why do you stop doing it as an adult? Like we still enjoy spending time with our friends. I get it. You probably enjoy your own bed a little bit more as an adult.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that's a motivator. I think it possibly stems from just like maybe being older and just being more responsible to an extent. Because like part of it for me, I know, is like when I like, because my friend will sometimes offer like, oh, hey, do you want to come over and watch this movie? And I'll be like, oh, well, it's pretty late for me. Because, I work in the morning. So I wake up super early. I go to bed super early. And he'll be like, oh, why don't you just stay here? And like my immediate thought is like, I don't want to fucking do that. And like part of it is like, I don't have my shower. I don't have my clothes. And like I'll point that out, and he'll be like, oh, just bring your clothes. And it's like, well, I still don't have my shower. And like, I don't want to stay up late because then I'll just be tired in the morning. So yeah, I don't know. I guess part of it's just like my adult responsibility of just like, I don't want to be tired in the morning. I don't want to drive further than normal. I don't want to use someone else's shower.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that.
It's like when you're a kid, you don't even fucking need to shower when you get up in the morning.
No.
You don't need to shower for like 3 weeks. You're good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember in the summer, like I would see how long I could go without taking a shower.
Oh, your poor parents. Just fucking hanging out in your own rank.
Especially if we were on like a vacation up north or something and I was going swimming, I'd be like, oh, that's good.
Okay, I remember that thought. I remember when I visited my grandparents, they lived on a lake, and it's like, oh, I went swimming today in this disgusting lake. I'm clean.
Yeah, this is like a shower.
Oh my God. So I guess that begs the question, like, if adults were to have a sleepover, what would that be defined by?
Well, I mean, I think all of the above rules apply.
I guess, yeah, if you want to extend the same sleepover to kids or from kids to adults, it does have to apply by the same rules. The only one I wonder about is like, so like immediately the whole sleeping in the same room thing would like nullify a lot of experiences, because like when my friends stay over here, they sleep on the couch, I sleep in my bed.
Right. That's like crashing at somebody's house.
Yeah, so that doesn't really count as a sleepover at that point.
Sleepover definitely needs to be in the same room.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
The actual sleeping, if you actually sleep, because I'm sure I had all-nighter sleepovers.
Yeah, sure.
So the whole,
I guess, okay, if you don't end up sleeping, then that rule, just, you don't have to even think about it. Like, even if you're not in the same room the entire night, like you just, that rule is just completely nullified.
Right. It is technically still a sleepover even if you didn't sleep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. As an adult, it can't be out of necessity. Like, you have
definitely not.
It needs to intentionally.
It needs to be like a fun thing. It needs to be like, hey, dude, do you want to just stay over tonight?
Right. Hey, do you want to come over and watch
Mean Creek,
all the Jumanji films tonight,
the Bionicle trilogy?
Yeah, exactly. We'll watch both. It's fine. That can work.
Yeah, totally. Definitely, it can't be like, oh, it's too late for me to drive home. Like, that's a necessity thing.
That's a necessity.
Okay, then what if it's, I mean, like, I don't drink, so this obviously doesn't apply to me, but like, what about if like you're too drunk to drive home? Does that count as a necessity, or does that fall under sleepover territory?
It counts as necessity unless
the plan was originally to just stay over.
Like, yeah, let's
that's fair. I'll go with that.
Yeah, like, let's hang out, let's have a lot to drink,
and then you can just crash here.
Right, but again, has to be same room.
Has to be okay. Yep, definitely.
Because I've had several situations where a friend will come over with a bag full of stuff, intending to stay the night because they know we're going to be out at the bar late. That was not a sleepover. We didn't sleep in the same room.
Yep.
Mack and I live here in Michigan, and sometimes the weather's shitty. And so snowstorm.
Yeah, that doesn't cover it either.
No,
I've had a couple of those.
That's a necessity.
Yeah. There was one time last year, I don't know what the hell was going on. No, this was, oh my God, was this 2 years ago? Or was this last year? This had to have been last year. It must have been December or something like that. You might remember this. There was one day in particular where just like there was a crazy snowstorm and traffic everywhere was absolutely abysmal. Like, I think I told you about it. Like, my friend, Sean, if you're listening, Sean's a crazy son of a bitch sometimes. He was just like, he texted me and he was like, I think we had plans to hang out later that day. And he texted me and he was like, hey, if I walk to McDonald's by where you work.
Yes, I remember this.
You do remember this. Okay. Will you pick me up? And I was like, you're insane. This McDonald's is like 5 miles away from you. But yeah, I'll pick you up. No problem, dude. So he walked there and I got out of work and like I went and picked him up, and then just like I had to pick up cat food. My cat food was out. So I needed to pick up cat food before I went home. And so we had to drive to get cat food, and just the traffic everywhere was absolutely terrible. I don't know what the fuck was going on that day. It couldn't have been just the weather, because we have bad weather here all the time.
Yeah.
It was seriously like every single street was like bumper to bumper traffic for miles. And like it took me like a solid hour to drive somewhere that usually takes me 5 minutes.
This might have been the same day. But I remember there was one day I was leaving World Market at, I don't know, maybe 6 o'clock, which is already not a great time to be leaving because you're going to hit.
Yeah, you're going to hit rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
We live in kind of like a minor city, so there's definitely rush hour traffic here.
Yeah. And I remember there was a FedEx truck broken down right at the corner of.
Oh, geez.
And you know the distance. So this is really only super, super relevant to you. But for me to go from pulling out of World Market to getting onto took me like 25 minutes.
Jesus.
And this is probably a stretch of what, maybe a mile?
Sorry, everyone. I bleeped out. I was just telling Mike I bleeped out all the names of the streets on the highway, but for everybody, it's like literally like a quarter mile. It's not even.
Yeah, it's not far at all. But between the snow and like trying to pull out onto this busy street, and there being this broken down truck where everyone's has to try to go around this truck and
that fucking intersection's a nightmare anyway.
It is.
Like on a normal rush hour, people will be like will like, while the light's green, just like keep going until their cars stretch across the intersection and then no one else can move.
Right.
Yeah. Like, that's a normal day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're talking like a bunch of snow and a FedEx truck broken down.
It very well might have been that same day you were talking about.
I don't think it was, because like I went to like other streets that were equally as backed up. Like I tried going, like I was driving down one street that was super bad, and so I was like, fuck it, we're going on a different street, and it was just as bad.
Okay.
So, and the worst part too was, for the past couple of years, my car hasn't had heat in it.
Yeah, man, I don't know how you do that.
Well, I got fixed recently. I don't know if I told you that or
You
not.
didn't, but that's awesome.
My alternator had to be replaced.
Okay.
So not a cheap fix, but the mechanic I was working with, he was like listing off some stuff that needed to be fixed on my car, and I was like, yeah, I know, I have a bunch of shit that needs to be fixed. My car is 21 years old. It's amazing it still runs, to be honest.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff I haven't fixed because I'm cheap and I don't like to spend money, and like there's a lot of problems that are like, this isn't gonna break my car, so I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I know there's a bunch of stuff that's broken. Like I haven't had heat in like 2 years. And he was like, what? So while he had my car, he just like found and fixed it without charging me any extra, because he was like, I feel bad for you being stuck out in the cold.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was super cool of him. I had to pay like $700 for my alternator to be replaced, but at least I still got my heat fixed.
Nice. Very cool. Did you find out what was causing your heat not to work?
Yeah, I guess like I don't know enough about cars to answer this completely, but like there's like some fucking little majigger that has to be like switched for the car to know like, oh, we're using heat now instead of AC. And mine was just stuck. It was just like old and rusted.
Like a thermostat?
Not the thermostat, no.
Okay.
I don't know what the little thing was called, but it was at the end of like the heat hose that like stops heat from coming into the car.
Gotcha.
Like that was like stuck because it was just rusted over. So he just slapped some WD-40 on there, and it super easy fix.
Nice.
Why did I bring that up?
It got started because of the snow.
Oh yeah, well,
snow
so when we got back to my place after like 3 hours in traffic, we even had to like stop at a Denny's because we were both frozen because my car didn't have heat, and we just stopped at Denny's and ate, and then kept going. After we got back, he was like, and I was like, if you want to stay here, I'd have to drive him home.
Right.
Like, do you want us to just stay here tonight? So that was the plan. So that's not a sleepover, because that was a necessity thing. Like we were basically stuck. We were forced to.
Right. Now, the co-ed sleepover. What are your thoughts on that?
I do not know. I don't know. I think I'll allow it, because you can have like a totally platonic just friendship with a girl and just be like, oh, stay over at their house, but.
You can. I
guess it's definitely going to depend on how close you are to that person. Like if you know that there's never going to be a romantic thing.
Right. So it's possible in theory.
It's possible in theory, but if there's like any small possibility of there ever being a romantic thing between you two, like if you know you're going to be staying over to a girl's house, or if you know that she's going to be staying over at your house, and you have like even like for a passing thought, like what if we hooked up? Then like that's not a sleepover.
No, that's not a sleepover. No. And I mean, to go along with that, it can't be like someone you're like dating.
No, definitely not. That doesn't count at all.
No, that's not sleeping over. That's just, hey, you want to come stay at my place tonight. Like,
yeah, that's some fake shit.
Yeah, that's definitely not a sleepover. Oh man.
Primary objective for a requirement. I still think that holds.
Okay. You think there needs to be an objective for the sleepover,
or at least like a main thing that you end up doing. Like it can't just be like, oh, you like it can't be like I'm sitting at my desk playing video games, my friend's on the couch playing video games, we're not playing the same thing, we're just kind of in the same room. Like that doesn't count.
Right.
I feel like you have to be doing something together.
No, right. Yeah, I suppose. Like, I mean, if we had planned for me to spend the night at your house today.
This would be a sleepover because
we
were recording all day.
Yeah, we're recording, and we could keep recording all night if we really wanted.
Oh yeah,
if that could be our activity.
At 100,000 subs, Mike and I will do an overnight podcast.
We will do an overnight podcast. We will do an overnight video podcast.
Ooh, I'll have to buy some cameras for that, but
it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Just
we'll figure it out. Just get us to 100 subs. We'll figure it out from there. You guys take care of the hard part. We'll do the easy part.
Which I think that would make for a really funny video.
Yeah, that would be good. That'd be good.
Just us like sitting on the floor in pajamas.
You know, I was still thinking of us sitting at a table like we are now, but I like that better. In our pajamas, like on the floor, maybe some blankets spread out. We could build a blanket for it.
We could totally. Again, not a requirement, but
heavily encouraged.
We could have just like a bottle of dew sitting in the background and like an empty pizza box.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm for this. I was saying it as a joke before, but yeah, 100,000 subs. Mike and I will do a sleepover podcast.
100,000. Oh, 100,000. That's nothing. We'll be fine.
Oh yeah, we'll be there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks tops.
We might already be there. We put out one video. This podcast comes out a couple of days later. We're already there. All my 100,000 people who were here first, give us an F in the chat because you probably don't exist.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, we've decided like co-ed, yes, under some restrictions, cannot be pre-planned, has to still be in the same room.
Correct.
Has to have like some kind of like primary thing you're doing together.
Right.
That isn't sex.
Correct. Which then nullifies it as being a sleepover.
Totally. Well, what were some of our other requirements?
I don't know, but
I think we covered everything.
But thinking about like the objective, just because it's an adult sleepover you don't have to think in that like kids sleepover box.
Well, definitely not. No, like, I mean, drinking can be your objective.
Right. You could just hang out and
get wasted.
Yeah. Or play games or whatever.
Yeah. All you folks out there who have regular D&D parties where your friends stay over super late, as long as they're staying the night, that's a sleepover, boy.
Yeah. As long as it's not a necessity.
And you're like in the same room all night.
Sleepovers are really great.
They really are. Like I can't think of. Okay, here's a question. Did you ever have any like really bad sleepovers where you were just like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home?
Oh,
I know there were some, but I can't think of any.
Oh, absolutely.
I think there may have been a sleepover I went to once where like my friend's parents were fighting. Oh, that's always a rough one. And I was just like in his room, like playing with Legos, just being like, oh fuck, I really don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. I had some awkward sleepovers where I don't know if I remember any where the parents were fighting, but like some of my friends' sisters would either be like fighting with the parents.
Okay. That'd be an awkward one.
Yeah. Or maybe the sisters got a friend over and they get yelled at for something, kind of that same someone's in a fight with someone and you don't want to be around it.
Yeah.
Or as someone who's a really picky eater like I am.
Oh God,
that always provides.
Like, we both are, for context for anybody. Like we're both pretty picky eaters, and like the worst is when you're at a sleepover and like your friend's parents makes dinner and it's something you don't like.
Right.
And you just kind of like, would you suck it up? I always sucked it up and just ate it.
It definitely would depend what the food was and also how old I was.
Okay.
As I got older, I ate more and was also more willing to like force something down. But no, when I was really young, like first at sleepover age, nah, I probably cried at a sleepover because I didn't want to eat something. I don't know.
I don't want this fucking okra.
Yeah, I don't know if that was true or not, but
I'm pretty sure I was always good about it because my parents always like drilled into me like politeness when you're at someone else's house. I remember like my friend John, when I was really young, when I still lived in New Hampshire, his dad always made the weirdest shit. I always hated dinner time at his house. The worst part too was like you wouldn't end up eating much because you dislike whatever you're being served.
Yeah.
And then you're just hungry for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but then you've got those snacks. Like
True. Especially if you're staying up later, there's gonna be something else.
Right. You maybe go down and raid the fridge at like 2:00 in the morning.
That was always pretty fucking lit when like, you know, your friends are all hanging out in the basement and you like sneak up into like the dark kitchen and like grab some food, bring it down.
Right.
That was always pretty cool. Jake snorted salt once in one of those like snack runs.
He snorted salt?
You know Jake though. Does that sound like something he wouldn't do?
That sounds so much like Jake. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he snorted salt once.
Huh.
Just laid it out on the table.
Just a line of salt.
Yeah.
Did he use a straw?
I don't think so.
Oh, just straight up off the table. Okay.
Just raw dogging it. Yeah.
God, just raw dogged a line of Morton's.
Yeah. No, I mean Jake always has been since we were kids, just like kind of the crazy motherfucker of our group. I guess okay, I just had this thought. Since we've essentially established that most of the rules for an adult sleepover are the same as a kid sleepover, what would be the difference between an adult and a kid sleepover?
Well, the adult sleepover,
I think it would mostly just come down to activities, right?
Yeah, activities. I mean, we've decided that there can't be any sexual aspect to it, which
completely nullifies it right away.
Right, but that's a difference. Also, as an adult, though, you have the ability, reasonably speaking, to leave.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty fair.
As a child, you either needed to get picked up or dropped off.
It was fully in the hands of your mom, like whether or not you were even allowed to.
Right. Granted, you wanted to.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But if it was that bad sleepover, you were stuck there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. As an adult, you'd be like, all right, I'm going to head out. You're fighting with your wife. It's cool.
Oh, the other thing about...
I didn't consider like spouses. Like what... Does that change anything?
I briefly teased this topic to someone last night, kind of just thinking about this idea and kind of sharing what kind of thing we were gonna be talking about on this this podcast. And she also asked about spouses, and I was like, well, no, your spouse doesn't count. And
well, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
That's not what she meant either.
Okay.
And I was like, well, no, you live together all the time. That's
not a sleepover, obviously.
It's not a sleepover. But if you and your spouse went over to a third person's house and all three of you spent the night in one room.
Okay, I can see that counting, but let's talk about the opposite. Like you are married to someone, your friend comes over.
Oh, so okay, like you and your bro have a sleepover while your wife's
in the other room. Yeah. Does that change? I guess that feel. You know what? No, that's basically the same as having a parent around.
Yeah, no.
At that point,
that's totally fine.
That's totally fine. Okay, never mind. I figured out my own answer.
The other one that we need to mention is it can't be. I know we said it can't be out of necessity, but it can't be an out of town, hey, I'm visiting, I'm going to stay with my friend for a couple days.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. What if, okay, let me pose a scenario to you.
Sure, go for it.
Your friend's coming into town.
Okay.
They're planning to come hang out with you.
Okay.
It's getting pretty late and they didn't plan like a hotel. And so, you know, they're about to be like, okay, I guess I'm going to leave. I'm going to go, you know, find a hotel to stay in. And you're just like, I'll just stay here. Does that count? That's not really necessity, but
I think it's more of necessity. And see, that's where I like the idea that the sleepover is pre-planned. so that situation doesn't arise. You don't have a last second, oh, you can stay here, and then it becomes a sleepover. I personally feel like this needs to be, the sleeping over needs to be established before the person comes over. But I get what you're saying when you're a kid. That's different.
I guess I don't know. I can see that as an adult because, you have a car, you have a house, you can leave. You don't have to stay there. But I don't know. I still feel like impromptu sleepovers could still be a thing between adults. I just think as adults, what makes it impromptu is generally the same kind of thing that would make it a necessity. I mean, the necessity can make it impromptu and then that gets nullified. But what if it's just like, oh, we're having a good time, let's keep this thing going and just hang out?
I mean, yeah, I guess in theory. But I still think it would need to be a local friend.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. If you're out of town, fuck you. You're not sleeping over my house. You can crash here, but you're not sleeping over.
No,
it's totally different.
Mac and I have a friend and former coworker that lives in Florida that comes back to Michigan, I don't know, maybe once or twice a year. And she'll frequently stay with me when she's in town.
That's definitely not a sleepover.
It's definitely not a sleepover. No, definitely not. Because she's staying at my place. She's in from out of town, sleeping over, but it's not a sleepover.
Well, I'm running on the assumption you don't sleep in the same room.
Oh, well, that is also true.
That could nullify on its own.
Correct. Yeah.
It'd be a little weird.
You never know. It's such a strange
subject.
Well, and it is because there's no
definition of a sleepover.
There's no definition of a sleepover, and there's no real reason why adults couldn't have sleepovers.
I really just think it comes down to like we have our own houses and own vehicles and can get around on our own and do our own things. I think that's the only reason that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
I mean, like, my friend Sean, like even when I was in high school and I had a car, I would still sleep over at his house all the time. But like that was, at that point, it was more like, okay, my friend and I like to hang out together and I have two brothers at home that I don't like being around. So sleeping over at his house is like, fuck yeah, I'm going to sleep over at my friend's house. But now as an adult, it's like, okay, so I'm going to wake up feeling gross. I'm not going to want to use his shower. I'm not going to have my own clothes.
Right.
And I live by myself, so there's no reason for me not to want to come home. And it's like, even if I stay up late, I'd rather just go home.
Yeah, I
really just think it comes from being an adult that makes it so we don't have sleepovers anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of too bad, though.
It is unfortunate. Sleepovers were the best when you were a kid.
Right.
It was like the single greatest way to hang out with someone.
I mean, because if you think about it, a lot of the fun stuff that we did as kids that we don't do as adults anymore, some of it we like physically outgrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there's nothing saying we can't have sleepovers as adults.
Nope. Just doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate casualty of growing up.
Yeah. People
out there, I want you to find your closest friend and go have a sleepover. Just anytime, sometime soon. Do it tonight. If you're you know what? If you're fucking hanging out with your friend right now listening to this podcast, you guys have a sleepover tonight.
Right.
Do it up.
Why not?
You're missing out.
In theory, this is probably coming out on a Monday.
Yeah, well, that's not a great day to do a sleepover. Plan it for Friday. Do a plan one.
That was exactly what I was going to tell our listeners. If you're listening to this on Monday morning, hopefully on your commute to work, maybe
at work,
maybe
hanging out at home.
Never know. Maybe you went to the gym. Maybe you're listening to us while you're on the treadmill.
Sure.
But especially if this is Monday, you get your bro or your broette. You set up a sleepover.
You have that sleepover, girl.
You have that sleepover. It would be a very clutch sleepover if it's someone you work with and Friday, like
neither of you are working the next day.
Well, yeah, neither of you are working the next day, but like 5 o'clock on Friday hits, you guys both get out of work at the same time.
Carpool to work. Carpool back to someone's house.
I was just gonna say to carpool.
You pick up your friend at their house and then you go back to their house for the sleepover, so they don't have to drive. You don't have to drive them back home.
Right.
You're the only one who has to drive home. Sleepover it up, bitches.
Do it.
That's the message of today's podcast. That's the moral of the story. And with that, I want to thank you for listening to the very first episode of Breakroom Nachos podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Check us out next time. Go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. We'll have that linked up.
We'll have a link for that. We just put out a video, the first video for Breakroom Nachos. We're going to be doing podcast weekly, videos for now monthly, possibly more later on. And this podcast is available Spotify, definitely YouTube, probably iTunes. I haven't looked into getting it set up there, but wherever you can get your podcast, we'll probably be there. So go
Apple Music.
Apple Music. That's the thing.
That's
now.
what
iTunes
they call
doesn't
it.
exist.
Yeah.
I just showed how little I use Apple products.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Apple products either, but that's for another podcast.
That's for another podcast. We'll be there. We'll be there for you. Leave us some questions in the comments, and we'll get to them next episode.
Thanks for listening.
Mike and I are gonna have a sleepover. Just don't tell them we're not actually doing it. Just go along with it. Okay. We're gonna have a sleepover.
Okay. Yeah, I won't tell them. You're gonna edit this out at the end, right?
Yeah, no, it's all edited out already.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have any. I do have burners and like Sprite. I don't have any Mountain Dew. We can go pick some up.
Okay, that's fair enough.
We'll watch a movie. We can watch Mean Creek.
Mean Creek?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that's definitely actually happening for real.
Do you have any more of those Beyond sausages?